Hey there, today we are going to make a super easy, healthy fall recipe. This is going to be maple pumpkin butter. Now, pumpkin butter, you may know, you see it on the shelves at the stores. A lot of times it has high fructose corn syrup. I'm going to show you a way today to make it with just a few ingredients you probably already have in your kitchen, and it's easy. It's done in under 20 minutes. Super simple, even your kids could help you. So let's get started. So you're going to need either one large can of pumpkin puree or two smaller cans. Make sure it's puree and it's not pumpkin pie mix, because pumpkin pie mix has that sugar and high fructose corn syrup that you don't want. So I've already got a can in there. I'm going to add the second can in. So this makes a lot, but trust me, you're going to want to have a lot on hand. This is so good. It's perfect on toast and oatmeal and pancakes and all the things you want to use jam on this time of year. So we have, again, 2 cans of the pumpkin mixture, and then we are going to add in some maple syrup, which is why it's called maple pumpkin butter. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I am personally going to keep it at 2 tablespoons. However, if you don't like using artificial sweeteners or anything like that, I'm using stevia today. If you don't like using that, you can add in 1 to 3 more tablespoons of maple syrup, and nothing else about the recipe has to change. So I'm using green stevia today. If you've never seen it, this is what your stevia actually looks like if it's not processed any further. So I'm going to do the equivalent of what would be 1 to 2 of the packages of stevia that you might use. And then we are going to add in our spices. This is what really takes this recipe to the next level. So pumpkin pie spice, as you can imagine, is going to be the first. We're going to do a half of a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. If you do a little extra, that's okay. And then we are going to add in cinnamon. So cinnamon adds to the sweetness factor, really gives it a good depth of flavor. You want 1 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and that's going to be totally up to your preference. So maybe you start at 1 teaspoon and taste it when it's done. You can go from there. Next up, we're going to add ground ginger. Now, I love ground ginger because it gives the recipe a little bit of a kick, but if you don't want the kick, don't add the ginger. That is totally okay. So half of a teaspoon of ground ginger goes right in. And then my secret ingredient. I cannot live without a little bit of clove this time of year, but a little bit of clove goes a long way. So tiny little bit. It says 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm going to use my half of a teaspoon and literally just get a tiny little bit in there, and that's all you need. So we've got the spices, we've got maple syrup, we've got pumpkin. We're going to let this sit over a medium-low heat. We're going to stir it all up, and we're going to let it reduce. So all of that extra water that might be in the pumpkin, we want to cook out. So about 15 minutes over medium-low heat, stirring occasionally, and you're going to get the easiest, tastiest pumpkin butter. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. This is what the finished product looks like. You can see it is nice and thick, just like you want it to be. Again, it is about 15 minutes. You have to stir it every once in a while because it does have some sugar in it and you don't want it to burn. So stay close to the stove. I promise you it'll be the best 15 minutes that you invest in your fall snacking. So I'm going to show you just how I personally love to eat this, which is right on top of some sweet potato toast. So just put it on there, nice and thick, and you can top this with whatever your favorite seasoning. Maybe you like some hemp hearts or something like that, but super easy, so good, and the best fall treat.